The complete version of the Hollywood action comedy blockbuster Family Plan, starring Mark Wahlberg in 2024, is online today. When a professional killer stops doing his old job and becomes a full-time dad, you have to believe in the beginning of a nurse. Sean was taking his little son to the supermarket when he was picking a pizza for him when a man with dirty electricity approached him.
Hey, at least let me put my kid down there.
The sudden situation made Sean realize the killer identity he had been hiding for 18 years, and today.
Sorry about the mess.
Thank you for shopping at
Fresh. For the safety of my family, the most important thing now is to leave Sean, who currently resides. Long Byway parked his car in front of his own garage door, and after getting off the car, he also signaled to his neighbors. My neighbor has never seen Sean do this before, and I was stunned. After returning home, he directly opened the dark grid on the stairs, took out the dusty equipment inside, and then took care of his long unseen brother Gangzi.
It's nice to hear your voice too.
Sean spoke frankly about his anger and asked Gangzi to help prepare 5 new sets of identification documents, including him, his wife, and 3 children. Gangzi curiously asked the leader of his organization, who had been searching for him all over the world for 18 years without any problems, why is it now exposed? Sean speculated that he might have found him through social media because just a few nights ago, he was strolling through a night market with his wife. Deeply in love, he kissed his wife Jessica, and coincidentally, this scene was captured by a troublemaker on the street and posted on his social media app. Sean was worried that his whereabouts would be exposed, so he went forward to analyze it, but in exchange, he received insults and ridicule. Sean didn't want his wife to know his previous intentions, so he chose to endure. Returning home, Sean let cold water wash over his body, which slightly suppressed the demon in his heart. But a bad premonition arose in Sean's heart, but he didn't expect the danger to come so quickly. At this point, for the safety of his family, he had to leave the place where he had lived for 18 years and start a new life. In the blink of an eye, Sean found his wife with his 3 children and told him that his whole family was about to travel to Vegas. Jessica used to be an excellent all-around athlete. Due to being injured in a competition, he became a community therapist. When he heard his husband make such an abnormal decision, he looked embarrassed because in everyone's eyes, Sean has always been a big otaku who follows a routine in life, and even every intimate encounter is carried out according to a schedule. Hearing the words travel from his mouth is like the sun rising from the west. Who
are you? I don't even recognize you.
Oh, you don't love him. He's crazy.
A person undergoes earth-shattering changes in an instant, and anyone can feel a sense of fantasy, let alone their husband Sean, who has lived for 18 years and is suitable for them. Seeing that his pursuers had already arrived downstairs, I couldn't explain too much to my wife, so I had to use my trump card. Gat.
Yeah, we're gonna use the money that we saved on flights to go all pretty women in those fancy hotel boutiques that smell like leather and patchouli. And guess who's got no budget? You get whatever you want.
Okay. This is totally crazy. Damn, this is crazy.
We're gonna get crazy.
From this perspective, shopping anywhere is a deadly weapon for conquering a female animal, and the family embarked on this journey without their knowledge. Not long after the car had driven out, the assassin caught up and the Sean family tried to shake them off with high throttle. The continuous drift made the family confused about what Sean was doing, and they didn't want to tell the truth. They could only tell their wife that they were taking a shortcut. Sean watched as the assassins, like a dog's skin ointment, were still relentlessly chasing him. He thought to himself that the car must have been equipped with a positioning device. He told his wife to carefully inspect the vehicle before driving on the road, and then drove into a repair shop to lift it up under the guise of changing the oil. Then, he carefully inspected the chassis of the small car, and as expected, he found a tracker on the chassis. He immediately took it off and ran to the owner of the repair shop. The owner was about to drive his newly purchased sports car for a ride when Sean quietly installed the tracker on the car. She
Wants to go fast. Cars are like chicks. Yes, right. Get her on the freeway. You open her up and you get a ticket. It's on me.
The boss drove away in his sports car, and the assassins looked at the red dots on the screen and followed closely behind. After temporarily getting rid of the assassin, Sean and his family went back up again. On the way, he saw his wife posting updates on his social media app. Due to his previous experience, he requested the whole family to hand in their mobile phones, claiming that they could enhance their relationship. The siblings had never seen a father with such a tough attitude before, so they had no choice but to hand in their own phones. Then, he put his phones together and threw them directly out of the window. You should know that nowadays, leaving the internet for just 1 minute can be fatal, let alone Sean's madness, which left people stunned. 4.
Spontaneous. At our phones, how are we going to know where we're going?
There are always more difficulties than solutions. Sean came to a travel agency along the way and wanted to buy a map to Vegas. The salesperson was also very puzzled by his requirements and asked in surprise, "What era is it?" Why don't we use mobile navigation anymore? At Sean's strong request, the clerk had no choice but to dig up the dusty map and tell him that he could only use credit cards to pay the bill. Sean used another trump card to avoid revealing his whereabouts. At this moment, the salesperson looked at the strange injustice in front of him and was so excited that his words were incoherent.
All right, stop. Collaborate and listen. Ice is back with a brand new adventure. Something grabs a hold of me tightly, flow like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop your stream?
Just as the family was singing and laughing, Sean's home came for a while, led by the biggest villain in the movie, Big Back. He ordered his subordinates to immediately find them, but his hackers couldn't find any clues on the internet because Sean had never logged into a social account and his phone was also turned off until now. Debate 2 is also cunning. He had his subordinates keep an eye on their vans because he knew that changing cars was impossible with Sean hiding the truth in front of his family. At night, to avoid the pursuit of the assassins, Sean dared not slack off at all. At this moment, on the overpass, he discovered a group of suspicious people. Looking at the ill-intentioned chess player in the rearview mirror, Sean turned on the car's Bluetooth, immersing his family in the ocean of music, and then took out his weapon to prepare for a battle against the enemy. Sean stepped on the gas pedal all the way, and the flag bearer behind him followed closely. The other person raised their hand and shot through the rearview mirror of the van. Sean didn't die either. He leaned out of the car to fight back, and the injured flag bearer was trying to balance and collide with an oncoming car. After dealing with one flag bearer, another flag bearer grabbed onto Sean's car door. In order to stabilize the steering wheel, Sean accidentally dropped his weapon, and his youngest son handed over his milk bottle. Sean didn't hesitate to take it and thrust it into the chess player's mouth, asking him to show off a bottle. Then, he fiercely turned towards the remaining rider, squeezing him into a similar lane.
Who's that?
Hey, honey. There's a little bit of a pothole there.
Unconsciously getting closer and closer to the destination, I finally arrived in Vegas amidst cheerful singing. Sean and his whole family arrived at the hotel that their friend had just booked. Jessica looked at the exquisite decorations inside the room and couldn't stop laughing with joy. Sean took the opportunity to talk about ventilation outside and let them enjoy the environment alone. In fact, he met Gangsy and took on their new identity. When Sean and his wife were preparing to have dinner together, it was unexpected that the assassins had already known their whereabouts. At the same time, the siblings secretly ran out with their youngest son to experience the passion of Vegas. After being full of alcohol and food, the couple returned to their residence. Jessica saw the illusion of her siblings' subordinates and thought that the children were all asleep. She went back to the bedroom to prepare for a romantic night and casually activated the most romantic mode of emotions and objects. But at this moment, Sean, shrouded in emotions, was locked in by the laser beam. Just as Sean was frantically dealing with the two assassins in front of him, the joyful wife in the bedroom was brought to an end. After Sean solved the two assassins outside, the assassins inside the house carried his wife out with them. Jessica watched her husband holding the gun so skillfully that she completely lost sight of it for a moment. Sean saw his wife being held hostage and could only slowly lay his weapon on the ground, but he picked it up and flew over to hide it in his pants.
Let her go. She doesn't know it. Let's say she does now.
But the assassin threatened to kill him first, then his wife, and finally their child. Before the assassin could finish putting on his wavesuit, Sean swung out with a knife on his back. This big and thrilling set completely scared Jessica, and he turned around and ran into the children's bedroom. It turned out that everything in the room was just a facade, and then the couple hurriedly prepared to go find the child. Sean doesn't know where to say about what happened just now.
Do you want me to talk or things to say?
Do I have things to say? I have eyeball on me, Sean. Fucking eyeball.
Along the way, Sean tried to explain to his wife, but now Jessica is not in the mood to listen to his nonsense until she sees the child. At this moment, the three siblings are playing happily in the esports hall. After finding the children, Sean planned to leave the city with them. The siblings had no understanding of their father's behavior and had no choice but to confess their past.
I have to leave because my former coworkers are trying to kill us.
From Planet Car Deals.
Before I met your mom, I was a covert assassin. I escaped that life and now they found us.
Obviously, the children do not believe his words. Just then, a killer followed suit. Then he set his wife and children aside, attracting the killer's attention on his own. After solving the killer, several people found a remote female shop to stay in and told their families about the whole story. Sean told his family that his parents had raised objections since childhood. His mother passed away when he was 8 years old because he had nothing to do all day. He joined the military at the age of 18 and was unexpectedly talented in this field. He was then targeted and recruited by the Mercenary Corps, and was often sent by the CIA to complete missions to assassinate terrorists. After a few years of this kind of life, the leader of the mercenary corps became insatiable, and as long as the outside world gave him enough benefits, he would do things for them. After learning the inside story, Sean left the organization.
Took out, as in how many?
26.
You've killed 26 people.
Oh, I went on 26 operations.
39.
For so many years, facing Sean's concealment, Jessica felt like she had been living in his deception. She angrily told Sean that he would leave here tomorrow morning with his children and let him take care of himself. The next morning, Jessica left the hotel with the children. On the way, he asked his best friend who worked at the travel agency to help book 3 tickets to go home. After arriving at the airport, I unexpectedly found my best friend Gwen sitting on a special plane to pick him up.
I was on a layover nearby and I thought, I'll just...
After getting on the plane, Jessica and her best friend were spitting bitter water, but her best friend said she actually had a similar experience and told Jessica about it.
Thought he was the one, and then he just threw it all away. Married some other woman who was the complete opposite. And the worst part, she's insufferable. Are you mad? I had to. He created this whole life with this woman. I needed to see what she had, but I didn't. What did you do? I did what I do best. I got close. I won her trust, and then I just waited patiently for her to...
Upon hearing this, Jessica was shocked to find that Gwen had always been a hidden assassin by his side. He made excuses to leave the plane, but it was already too late. At this moment, the Great Compassion head appeared at the entrance of the plane. In the hotel, Sean sat restlessly when suddenly the phone rang. On the other end of the phone was the boss of the mercenary, Big Back. Without any accidents, Sean's family was in his hands at this moment. He told him that if he wanted to save his family, 30 minutes later, he went alone to an abandoned hotel in the suburbs to report. In the blink of an eye, Sean arrived at the appointment alone.
No hug for your old man.
My son now, Dad.
I'm sorry, what? I'm your grandfather.
Unexpectedly, one thing after another, Jessica didn't even know which sentence Sean said was true. Sean asked his father what he really wanted, and with a big head, he told him the purpose of doing this was to bring Sean back and witness the glory of the organization together. Sean, however, grew tired of his previous life and only wanted his wife and children to live their entire lives on the hotbed.
Start with a wife.
Wait, no,
However, under the threat of a big back, he could only compromise. Watching his family leave, Sean's heart was twisted like a knife. In the elevator, the siblings kept persuading their mother not to just leave their father like this. No, when Jessica saw her little son, a perfect plan came to her mind. He took advantage of the gap between changing the diaper for his youngest son to distract the bald man's attention, and then took out the newly cooked diaper directly in the bald man's process. On the other hand, Gwen wanted to rekindle his old relationship with Sean and immediately wrote onto him. Well, when Jessica and her siblings saw it, they were so surprised that they couldn't close their legs. Next, Sean clicked Gwen's acupoint, which turned out to be his skills for dealing with this female assassin. After seeing Jessica again, Sean felt guilty and told him that he would never hide anything again, because being with his family is the most authentic version of himself. Later, the father and son discovered a drone, and Sean's skilled skills left his eldest son stunned. From the screen, it can be seen that a group of people with big backs have noticed the small incident upstairs and are about to return to catch them. Slow down, I need to be that.
Last time. Cross. Dad, there's too many of it. So calm, Jim. My eyes and my ears, okay? I'm counting on you.
At this point, the other party had already arrived at the elevator door, but there was only one bag of diapers in the empty elevator. Sean, with the help of his eldest son, shuttles around the mall like a ghost, as if there is no one around.
Are you okay? Man ahead.
After dealing with a few small henchmen, Sean pointed his gun at his father, but Big Back knew his son's nature and knew he wouldn't shoot. He asked the group of henchmen to quickly take him down. On the other side, Gwen woke up and prepared to go up to the rooftop to settle accounts with Jessica. Jessica nervously watched as the elevator slowly ascended, her hand holding the gun trembling. The two best friends who used to be good friends now turn against each other, and Jessica won't back down for the sake of her own children. That's what you're saying.
Some kickboxing classes with the Y and wear Lululemon.
But with just those two flower fists and embroidered legs, how can they be Gwen's opponent? In a moment of desperation, Jessica grabbed an empty wine bottle and swung it onto his head, which angered Gwen. He turned around and kicked Insidia sideways, instantly rendering Jessica incapable of fighting. On the other hand, Sean's situation was also very difficult. Fortunately, he was able to cope with it with the assistance of his eldest son. When the person on the other side felt overwhelmed, Debetu noticed the presence of the drone and picked up a spray to shoot him down. Without the assistance of drones, Sean was quickly knocked down by the Great Compassion head with a stick. On the other hand, after taking care of Jessica, Glenn walked towards the children, chattering incessantly, saying that it was just a matter of time. Jessica rushed towards Gwen again to protect the children, but as soon as he got close, he was thrown off his shoulder by Gwen. At this time, Jessica has had enough of Gwen's taunts. In order to protect his children from being hurt, he is going to use his killer mace, which he has hidden for many years, to take pole vault. However, his tools are not awesome, and he will fall down. Gwen saw his rival in love so embarrassed, how could he justify his mouth without mocking him? Just as he was chattering incessantly, Jessica picked up the bamboo pole that had just been broken in two, sank her anger into the dantian, and turned around to throw it at Gwen. On the other hand, Sean and his father were in a duel, and as expected, he would still be old and spicy. Knowing that his son could not kill him, he subdued Sean with a few strokes.
Goodbye, Sean.
At a critical moment, Jessica rushed over with the children.
You think that we probably hate you for everything that's happened these past few days, and maybe we should. Maybe there's a way for us to move forward as a family.
Just as Sean was distracted, he swung him unconscious with a stick, which could be said to be the killer retreating from the group family. Dad knew it was not possible, but his rival found out and intervened. In the end, the group was knocked down. The story is almost at an end, and Big Back was brought to justice. Sean and his family untied the fog, and from then on, they also fell in love with road travel. This is Baba Tuesday. We watched the beautiful movie and it's always there.